It's going to be a very difficult video because tensions are high. So please do not shoot the messenger, meaning myself. It's a surprise for nobody that the price of higher education is creeping up and up and up, and frankly, it's close to out of control. It's not a US problem only. So if you're considering going to university or vocational school, or maybe you have a kid or grandkid who might go someday, congratulations! Or is it? Because if you are the one on the hook to pay for it, you might already wonder, how am I going to make it work? Of course you have student loans, but let's be honest, those are really tough. And once you have student loans, it's difficult to repay them back. As a parent myself as well, I'm wondering what other options are available out there. And that's exactly what we're gonna discuss in today's video. So if you're interested, this video is for you. My name is Joran from Economia. Welcome back to the channel. Let's get started. As I was mentioning, I'm a parent as well. So today I might be a bit tenser than usual, so bear with me. Sadly, the cost of higher education is so high that, to be honest, it's probably out of reach of anybody. Look at this data about the US college. It's really high and it's going to keep going higher and higher. And it's the case in most countries in the world, maybe except with Western Europe, where it's heavily subsidized thanks to taxes, and a bit in Japan and Singapore. Basically, you have 5 options. The first one is you have the money on hand because you're fortunate enough to have that money and you've been successful, so voila, you just pay for the kids or for yourself, and that's fantastic. Congratulations, this is great. Unfortunately, this video is not for you. Those are other options if you don't have the money. But before you leave, please don't hesitate to leave a like or a little comment down there. That's gonna help us a lot. For everybody else, let's continue. You have the possibility of asking for a scholarship. You're gifted in academia, gifted in sports, and that's going to permit you to receive extra aid from the government or the university to pay for your education. This is great and you should try if you think you can make it. Nevertheless, if we look at the US, only 7% of all the university students are actually granted scholarship. So although you can try, the odds of you having 100% are really low. So let's look at other options. Your third option is to ask for aid. They are usually available at your country level, federal level, or local level, or even from the schools. There is no shame in it, and honestly, this should be your first step. And they exist everywhere. You have them in the US as FAFSA, you have them in Canada, student aid in Canada, you have them in Singapore, the Ministry of Education is going to help you, in India, and I've found it for the Ministry of Education in Japan as well. And in most Western European countries as well, even from France where I'm from, you had those kind of grants and aids. So do not hesitate to have a look at it. If you can qualify for it, that's going to be a lot of help. Number 4 is obviously student loans. They are popular or unpopular depending where you stand, but they are easy to get, they are very expensive, and you have to repay them, and they can make things difficult when you start your professional life afterwards. The 5th option is to look for any other strategies to finance education besides the first 4 we discussed. And that's where we're gonna dig deeper from now on. Most of the plans we're gonna discuss about now are US based, but you can find similar ones in every country. So listen for the principles and after do your own research at your local level to see what's available. The first one is called ESA, or Education Savings Account. It's a tax-deferred, tax-free withdrawal account, basically, that you can set up at any bank or financial institutions. The maximum that you can put is $2,000 a year for a single filer if you are making less than $110,000 or $220,000 if you are joint filing. It's quite easy and you can make contributions until the beneficiary, the person who is supposed to go to university or vocational school, reaches 18 years old. And all the expenses are education expenses and they would qualify to be tax-free withdrawal. Then we have the 529 plan. This is also a tax advantageous investment plan that works a bit like your retirement plan actually. except this one is for education purpose. You invest your after-tax dollars up to the amount of your annual exclusions, or you can super fund it for up to 5 years in advance of your annual exclusion. Out of this recording, your annual exclusion should be around $16,000. There are two basic plans with the 529. You have the college saving plan and you have the prepaid tuition plan. The first one really works like any investment account. You choose your plan, you choose where you're gonna invest the money, and you invest regularly the money. And of course, all the good rules apply. Dollar cost averaging, low expense ratio, not taking too much risk, especially as you're looking at the future, and building over time. The other one, which is the prepaid tuition plan, works exactly as you would imagine from the name. You would go and choose the educational institution you want the kid or the grandkid to go, and you would prepay in advance. However, those plans tend to disappear, and the reason is, as education becomes more and more expensive, the educational institutions do not want to offer those plans anymore because they are losing out on additional money and also losing out on the cost of inflation. So those are disappearing, but if you think that you can grab one, that could be a good solution. If we're looking at the current annual exclusion of $16,000 that you would put every year for 10 years, look at how much money you would get at the end. That's a pretty good amount of money for education. Of course, not everybody is able to put $16,000 toward education on the side every year when you count that people want to invest, want to put in a retirement. But in the best case scenario, that's what you would get for 10 years. Now you could put half of that for 20 years or 15 years, and the results are not bad either. So again, a good solution with some risk like any investment, but something worth considering for education. UTAM and UGMA are also interesting options. Those are custodial accounts, and you put all the assets in a trust. So basically, you're building a trust for the education of the kid or the grandkid, and the kid or grandkid has access to the assets when he or she turns 18 or 21, depending where you live. You invest your after-tax dollars, and if you keep under the annual exclusion that we mentioned before, you should not be taxed on gift tax. The only caveat is when the kid turns 18 or 21, they have access to all the assets. So they might be tempted to buy a car rather than actually going to university. So that's the only caveat. You also have private saving accounts with financial institutions. So it's in addition to everything we talked about. If you have extra money, you can go to a financial institution like a bank and an insurance and see if they have specific plans to help you put money aside for college. So those would not be tax favorable treatments, except if the way they are set up. You're going to use your after-tax dollars to make contribution. They are available everywhere in the world. I personally use AIA Singapore for my own kids, and I've been putting money on the side for quite a long time. They are available with everybody. I just mentioned AIA, but AXA, Zurich, SBI, LLIC, every possible institution is going to offer something all across the world, and for sure all over Asia and in Europe. So please have a look with those institutions. It would be good to use them in coordination or together with the previous one we talked, any ed, any saving accounts, any 529 that you could use, and combine all of those to have more money on the side. Thank you for making it this far. It would mean a lot to us if you could give a like, subscribe, or just put a comment down below, because that would help this video to be shown to more people and all those strategies would be shared more widely. Thank you again. Let's go to the last 3 strategies. What about opening a saving account for kids under 18 years old? All the banks and financial institutions would permit you to do that, and you can contribute money in cash directly in the account. Everybody who wants to give a little bit of money for any occasions, for any birthday, can direct them to put the money over there. Savings accounts do not give you a lot of return, but given what we have today, 2-3% could be good and grow over time. Now let's talk about cash donation. It's especially true not for the parents, but for the large family. You are the grandparents, you are the uncle, you are the aunts. You have cash you can give maybe a little bit, as I mentioned, towards the kids' education. And actually, if we look in the OECD countries, You, the boomer generation, the Gen X generation, you are the one with the most money on your hands, and maybe you can give some, and in your family you give some to the kids who are going to university. You can give directly into the saving accounts that we talked about. You can give directly in the 529 into the ESA, UTMA or UGMA that we talked about. There are many options actually. And grandparents, uncle, aunts are happy to do that if they can. I know the grandma in our situation is happy to do it and is already doing it. And if you live in the US as a grandparent, what you can do is pay directly the educational institution. And this would be limiting your tax liabilities because it would not count against your annual exclusion. There are many ways to limit the amount you're going to pay for your higher education or your vocational school. For starters, not everybody needs to go to the Ivy League schools. By that, the ones that are the most expensive. A lot of federal college or community college are very good colleges. For some other jobs, you may not need to go to university. A lot of vocational schools might be the perfect thing for you. If you think that your kid or grandkid prefers to learn a craft, no need to go to university. Vocational schools would permit you to earn a good living once you learn your craft. Plumbers, welders, we need a lot of very good craftswomen and craftsmen. Next, of course, if you end up going to vocational school, when I say you, your kids and your grandkids, vocational school, university, maybe you don't need to live in the dorms. Maybe it's close enough to home to come back, live at home. Additionally, those kids should have work, a job on the side if they can manage to find a job, so they can pay at least for their boarding. You don't have to put everything from out of your pocket. And finally, if you are lucky enough in your job to have tuition reimbursement system, you could ask your job to give a bit of money. Not all employers actually have this kind of system, so it's worth asking. Education is key to climbing the social ladder and increasing your chance of finding a good job. It's never guaranteed, but it doesn't hurt, unless you finish your education with $500,000 in debt. I hope today's video gave you a few ideas on the option to finance your education or the ones of your kids or grandkids without getting into too much debt. Do not hesitate to let me know in the comment below if you think of other options that we should share with the rest of the community. And if you want to know more about finances as a parent, you can check this video I made a few months back. If you like this video or learned something, please give it a like. Do not hesitate to subscribe for more content to come. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, goodbye.